Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lightbringers podcast episode 22 of season 4. Where today we're going to be talking about strikes becoming raids and guests becoming fired. And you can hear them talking now. Oh, wait, now you can hear them.
I don't know what he was talking about. We were perfectly well behaved.
Angle will be the first
every week
to be fired. Official firing of all of them apart from Alchemist and Lelling, and maybe Fornax.
Last to be hired, first to be fired. Let's go.
That's true. Griff has been fired at least 74 times. So that's okay.
This is true.
It is true. It's very true. We have awesome guests here today. I hope you're good. If you're joining us wherever you are watching, if you're watching live, if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, listening on many of the audio places like iTunes or Spotify or Google or whatever. Sorry. Spotify, I have so many issues with, but we're on there and it's, that's where most people listen to us and it's okay. And anywhere else. You can join us live 12 p.m.-ish Pacific on a Sunday afternoon, probably most weeks before the expansion releases because it's coming very soon. What? It was 4
23
weeks
days.
on Tuesday. Yeah, so we got like 3 weeks Tuesday. We're excited. And we've got more information about that today, which we're going to be talking about as well. We have Lelling and Malcolmist who've also joined us, as well as Engelbert and Fornax as well. Engelbert and Meow, sorry. Fornax the Crown Herald, of course, with amazing artistry today. So if you can't see the video, you probably should go do that so you can see their epic flame head crown forest.
I get flaming head today. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
God, of course you do. Oh, my God, wow. Okay,
Start as we mean to go on.
That was
yes.
quick. That was very quick today.
We're already
set
here.
that up.
Yeah, we're already there. So, let's do a little bit of an intro. Engelbert Meow, tell us what you do, where you do it. Hello. Good to have you back.
Hi, I'm Angle. I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/EnglebertMeow. I do a lot of the more casual Guild Wars 2 content, but I also do a series on my channel called Curse Cosplays, where I cosplay people, places, and things from around Guild Wars 2 universe. And I do so to raise money for the Extra Life charity that benefits the Children's Miracle Network of hospitals. Most recently, I was a Pineapple Joya earlier this week, so check that out if you're interested. It was cursed and it'll give you nightmares, but you will also love it and want it a part of your core memory system. So thanks. Happy to be here.
Best.
Solid intro.
Thanks.
Very good.
Thank you. I've been working on that one.
You have. Very succinct, very, flowing. Very flowing. Fornax, tell us what you do, where you do it.
Yes.
Hello,
Sorry.
welcome back.
Hey, I'm Fornax, the Crown Herald. Thank you for bringing me on the podcast
Oh my God,
again.
you've got your own
and,
little poster there as well. Sorry.
Cute.
It's wobbly as it wobbles, but yes. So yeah, that's me. I make content over on YouTube, and if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Blue Sky at Fornax the Herald. Yeah.
Nice.
I like Guild Wars 2, and the people here are all wonderful. So I'm very happy to be here today.
Good stuff.
That is
was
it.
solid.
That's all.
Solid. Even as
Okay,
well.
cool.
Like just solid intro. Lelling.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Lelling is brand new to the podcast. It's awesome to have you here. I'm glad we could get you on finally. Tell us about yourself, what you do, where you do it, and all things.
Hi, I'm Lelling. I'm a former game dev. I now mostly just stream games instead of making them. And Guild Wars is one of the games I stream. I'm also an ArenaNet partner. And I also run Tyria Pride, which is this event that we have been running since 2016. And it's this really cool in-game gathering and march. And we raise a lot of money for a good cause. And the devs join in, and it's amazing. And I stream over at twitch.tv/Lelling, and I have a bunch of socials and stuff, and you can find all of that if you go to lelling.com. and it's just all the links are there.
Damn, nice. That's awesome. I don't think anyone's ever said that they've got a website before. That's
It's just
awesome.
a link tree. It's just a link tree, but I've made a redirect from Letting.
That's good. Damn, smart. Okay, good to have you here. Yes, we participate in Interior Pride every year ourselves, and please go and check out everyone's stuff in the description below. And last but certainly not least, Malcolmist has returned as well. My friend, how are you doing? Tell us all the things about you and where you do the things and what you do and what sandwich you like.
Buddy. My name is Alchemist. I'm an arena partner as well, and I do artwork and streaming, and I do a lot of lore-based artwork as well on YouTube and other platforms. But if anyone wants to check out my stuff, it's malcolmist.card.co. But yeah.
Nice. Okay, as well. Damn, these people showing off with their smart things that they have. God damn it. I'm still like, check me out, twitch.tv/Jerry. Oh god. That's like so long-winded. And you can check out, thank you, Malcolmist, as well. Malcolmist is ridiculously talented in terms of art, and won't say it as much as probably everyone else will. So go and check out their stuff, because it is literally, you can see it on your screen if you're watching the video. Like that, they did that. Like, Jesus Christ.
They did the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Very good. You're so welcome. And I am Jebro, the host of this. Well, everyone's a host, really, but like I put it on my channel and talk and tell people to talk about the things on twitch.tv/JebroUnity every Sunday at the moment till the expansion comes up, and normally about every 2 or 3 weeks. We bash out a podcast with many different guests that are very, very awesome. And we chat and banter and talk about the game we love. And you can check it out on youtube.com/JebroUnity as well. And you can find the Lightbringers Guild Wars 2 podcast. If you just Google, you'll be able to find it somewhere. It's on Spotify, iTunes, all of the audio places, wherever you'd find a podcast is there. And yeah, we are pretty, people listen mostly online audibly, and it's doing pretty well. So thank you. If you can follow and give a little bit of a review when you're on whatever site you're looking at, do that, because it helps get it around. But today, after that intro festival, we're going to be talking about combining raids and strike missions in 2026, which is pretty cool. If you don't know, Guild Wars 2 put a blog post out on the, that'd be cool if they did, on the 1st of October. And it's literally called Combining Raids and Strike Missions in 2026, which is, maybe we should read through it and then we can have our thoughts. That might be a good idea, I suppose. I think this is probably a long time coming, really, because they weren't really sure about because strikes didn't really do the thing. Well, that's literally in the blog post. You know what? Fuck it, I'm just going to read it because it's literally there. And I'm just going to talk about it and then read the thing, and then it's just going to be the same. So we'll do that. How about that? And if anyone else does want to read and they feel the actual need that they want to, they can also do that. And I'm just going to alter this camera because it's broken.
Oh no.
Okay, there we go. Excellent. Yeah, reading. Okay. This is all very good as well. I'm pretty sure everyone's happy about this. Hopefully, maybe. We'll find out. Especially guest-wise. And if you've got any thoughts about this in the chat, please let us know. But hey folks, this is Brian Yarrow. I'm not Brian. That's Brian writing the things. He's very great, probably.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian, everyone. His combat system's lead. What are you talking about? Why are you laughing for it?
He's not the son of God. He's a very naughty boy. Sorry, carry on. He's not the Messiah. Sorry, carry on. I apologize.
It's okay. Doing life with Brian flipping quotes right now. It's okay. That's fine. You're English. You're allowed. We're allowed to bring up more Python stuff whenever we want to in any conversation. I think it's pretty much.
This is true.
Yeah, when you're born, you're given like a piece of paper, things you must talk about. Monty Python.
Yeah, dead parrots mostly. Yes.
And I'm here to talk about to talk to you about something really exciting that's coming with the first major update for Guild Wars 2, Visions of Eternity. Oh, early next year. So this isn't until early next year, which I was kind of sad about now because I was hoping it was with the actual expansion, but that's okay. We got a lot to do.
It's the first one, at least. It's not the last one.
That's true. We'd have to wait like almost a year. As we announced in July, we're merging strike missions merging the strike mission and the raid game modes into a single game mode, which will be called Raids. We'll be releasing another blog on this topic in the coming months with more granular details, but today I want to focus on why we're doing this and how we got here. Why merge strikes and raids? Strike missions were originally designed to help players transition from open world content into raid content. They were intended to be quicker to complete than a full raid wing and have slightly less complicated mechanics as well. Over time, our data indicated that strike missions weren't performing as the content bridge we were hoping for. When we dug into the details of why this was happening, we found a number of reasons that we believed were all contributing factors, and we've been attempting to address these over our past few expansions. When we looked at who was playing strike missions and why, we discovered that inexperienced players had low engagement with strike missions. Furthermore, players who wanted to raid still felt blocked due to difficulty concerns and challenges in finding a group to run with. Strike missions simply weren't being viewed as the stepping stone to raids that we originally intended. Since then, we've tried to reframe and clarify how difficulty levels work in our group instance content across both strike mission and raid game modes. Normal mode should be able to be completed by anyone interested in learning the content, whilst challenge mode is aimed towards our hardcore audience. We also have some plans which we'll tease below that will further clarify the intended difficulty levels of our raid players. So, how many has everyone done raids and strikes here? I'm pretty much assuming yes. In some way, shape, or form. I mean, comments on this really, like why they're doing it, and does it feel like it's a good idea?
I think it's a great idea. I think even
I was
with
wondering if you're gonna stop there.
yes,
Good.
I mean typical Engo response. Yes, good.
That
That's
wasn't
all.
a very open question from me, to be fair.
Well, no. So I think strikes, while well intentioned in trying to bridge the gap into raids, didn't really address the intimidation factor of raids, and also, like they mentioned, finding the right raid group to jump into it, especially for the first time or while you're still learning and unfamiliar with raid wings. And also raid wings are super long in comparison, so I think people just didn't necessarily have over an hour at least of time to dedicate to showing up and making sure everybody in the group shows up every single week. I know there are static raid groups that are successful in doing this, but
Sure.
Not everybody has the schedule or the ability to do that. So I think this is a fantastic way of saying, hey, you can experience raids and raid encounters in a way that is kind of like going into a strike encounter, which I think they're now calling raid encounters, if I'm with this new system. So it'll all kind of like feel the same, and I hope it will help bridge the gap. And if somebody is then like, oh yeah, no, I've done like 2 out of the 2 of the raid bosses in this swing, I'll jump in and I feel like I can help and probably get pulled through the rest of it. I think it's a better bridge into that system for folks who do want to do like full raids with a group each week.
Nice. Any other thoughts? Feelings?
Yeah.
Well,
emotions?
after you, Larry.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because I think the thing with Guild Wars is that it's very opaque in terms of how it presents its information. So it's really difficult for new players to see, past the web of currencies and inventory items and everything. And I think it was especially strikes were introduced during this era that I think ArenaNet was struggling with just having currency creep. And I remember I never understood the prophecy crystals or whatever they were called for the strikes. I completely did not get what was going on, and then they simplified that and it's still two different currencies for the Icebrute Saga strikes. So I think it's really nice that we are just simplifying this and making it more accessible. And I think also just a menu that you can click and all the information is there is so important. I wish they did that for more content. So hopefully this is just the first of many things that are getting that kind of treatment.
Nice. Next, yeah, the four.
So I think my initial thought was finally, finally this is here. Why is it taken so long to get here? When the raids first arrived, I was really confused because they arrived in Heart of Thorns, and I was really confused that it wasn't just an additional open world area. They could have literally turned it into an open world area, had a different version of these bosses as open world bosses that everyone could interact with. Because what they set up in Heart of Thorns was kind of like this exclusivity, and it's kind of stuck around. There are people who raid and there are people who don't, and there are people who are so intimidated by it that they didn't raid for years. I'm one of them. I mean, and I used to be a hardcore. I was raiding heroic Ice Crown in World of Warcraft, but I got into Guild Wars 2. It sold itself and it sells itself accurately, I think, in many ways, as a very casual, friendly game. And then they have this community of really elitism built up around the raids with these massive barriers to entry and all these requirements for people to band together and have group dynamics and all that. And especially with how the boon system works, you have to have some very specific dynamics for a lot of the bosses where people get kind of stuck in their positions, or you have to have these positions. So the way they initially set up raids seemed to be a complete juxtaposition to the spoken ethos of having this easy, casual, friendly, well, not necessarily, but very casual, friendly game modes that they were advertising. And I'm so happy that there are now going to be raids, auto matching, so finally an LFR facility, so people don't have to feel like they have to take the initiative and feel like they have to set up a raid group and feel like they have to organize everything. And I'm also so glad that they have finally, since World of Warcraft have been stealing their cookies for years, they have finally reached over into their jar and have now took some of their cookies. It is time. It is time to steal some cookies from World of Warcraft. But yeah, I'm really happy about that. So it's really good. It's a step in the right direction. As you read on, you'll see that there's going to be scaling difficulty. So they're going to get more. They're going to get sort of new money for old rope, which is great. They're going to simplify all the ridiculous currency systems, which is a sign that you're failing if you have 17 different currencies in your game. And I imagine that Lilling will attribute this as a game developer that, yeah, you're starting to throw the wall and it's not working. And I'm really happy. I'm super happy. I think it's going to open up the game mode for everyone, and they're going to have the effect that they wanted to have with strikes, which is to get more people in because they're lowering the barrier to entry. That is all.
Okay, yes. That is all.
That is all.
Just that. Not much there. Good stuff. Okay, yeah, really good points everyone's making. Malcolm, what about you? How do you think about the reasons why, and does it make sense?
Yeah, I think it's a great addition, especially I come from I used to raid very heavily in World of Warcraft, raided very heavily in Guild Wars 2. In fact, I used to be in a group that did CMs all the time, and so I'm kind of part of the people who did the CMs and the big hard
hardcore
bosses.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But at the same time, like I think it's really good to have these stepping stones to get newer people in, and seeing how popular the fractal incursion was, it just makes me really excited for what raids are going to be like if we're going to be able to do LFR. In fact, we have I've been wanting to get a group together for raids for a while, especially with Engelbert and the community. And it's just been a little bit hard just because scheduling is a nightmare, especially when you have 10 other people or 9 other people that you need to schedule for. And so being able to just go up to something and just search for other people and just automatically go is just going to be really, really nice, especially since Engelbert still needs to get some of her
Well, we don't need to like blast in front of everybody, but
I like how you're like, because of Angle, because Angle,
Just throw
because
me.
Angle.
Yeah.
look. I do need a lot of LI. I just need my coalescence. That's all. Just need that.
No, very,
last
very
one.
happily wanting to help you, but yeah.
But I think I would agree. Like we could just go into this with pretty good like relative success, right? Like we
Yeah.
could just pull in a bunch of random people and still feel like, oh, this isn't gonna be an automatic failure because we have so many people we don't know,
Right.
or who aren't in a Discord or in our guild. Like I think that is really exciting for me to just be like, oh, we only have 5 people that showed up tonight as part of a static, so let's fill the other 5 and still feel like it's going to be a fun and fine evening.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things when we were doing raid training in my community. It was kind of like, oh, expect to fail, expect to be here for 4 hours and not get a kill at the end. And it was just like, who wants to do that? I mean, there were a lot of people who did that, but in terms of Guild Wars being that casual, friendly game, like Fornax was saying, I think that's the biggest thing, because I think we have to imagine the average Guild Wars player. Now, if anybody runs DPS meters, if you just go to a meta and you just look at the average, you can see that people aren't pulling raid DPS, and also people don't want to. Guild Wars is kind of a game that people come home to. They maybe, relax. They have some whatever they do to relax, and then they just turn on a game and maybe watch something on the other screen, and they want to do a lot of content that way. And now that we have CMs and LCMs, there's a place for people to do that hardcore stuff, but a lot of people just weren't feeling like they could do strikes or raids in that same relaxed atmosphere that they like to do the other content in. So I think that's a real thing of like, who's your customers, who's coming to your your place, what are they buying from you? And if they're buying chill vibes, make sure you have more chill vibes on offer.
Yeah, basically, yes. That.
I want to clarify. For a second. I am not against hardcore. I was a hardcore raider for 5 years. I used to raid 5 nights a week in World of Warcraft from vanilla onwards. I wiped so many times on Ragnaros, I can close my eyes and I can see him, and I have aphantasia. So, dear sweet mother of God, okay? I'm not against it, but it was such a juxtaposition for how they launched it and the ethos of how they wanted to do raiding. And also, if you need a quick heal, Guardian, sign me up, because I have lots of ally. I need to finish my raid armor as well. Just tell the truth here.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. We can do this. But the fact that we're having this conversation and we play the game so much shows that there's that kind of like, they initially dropped the ball, right? Like, we're all super enthusiastic about it, and the fact that we haven't been able to kind of like get our shit together and raid groups fall to pieces and everything, the fact that we're going to have now a reliable source where we could just dive in when we've got the time is just fantastic. So hats off, thank you. I love you. It's wonderful. I'm glad it's here. I'm sad it took so long, and I hope that when the community shows them the love that this game type deserves, because the raid encounters that they've made are fucking brilliant, right?
They're amazing, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get the feedback that they need to make more and more. Fingers crossed, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, there's a reason why I have Damos behind me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does. Let's see. Go.
One other thing that I want to bring up, and I think Lelling was kind of like alluding to this as well, just in terms of accessibility. Like when you're a new player, and it's being explained to you that there are fractals, there are strike missions, there are dragon response missions, there's raids, there's a lot of different types of instance content, and people are like, wait, so like I have to do all of these, like why? I think condensing them down into this format is going to be way less overwhelming, and I hope maybe they do bring in, you know, DRMs at some point, or a dungeon encounters at some point, and we have Lelling's like, yes. And I think that will I think sometimes maybe the overwhelmingness of being a new player in Guild Wars 2 can be a bit much, so the more that we can like simplify that, I think is a good move.
Yeah, 100%. I could not agree more. I think this is the number one thing also. MMOs love this. They love having terminology. They're like, we don't have quests, we have journeys or whatever. And it's like, it's not raids,
Yeah.
it's strikes. And it's just like, we could just call them raids. It's fine. You don't need new terms that you then need to explain to new players. And DRMs, I still am not 100% sure what I need to do DRMs for. And really, they're just, I think they could be, let's just roll them together with dungeons. Let's do a thing as just 5-person content, and we can revive dungeons. They don't need a huge polish. They just need a little bit of like locking in on those mechanics, because not everything has to be a damage check, and dungeons have interesting mechanics. So just put that in, and you can have the same like raid situation for dungeons and DRMs, because again, it's that thing. People will come to Guild Wars and they'll be like, I want to do dungeons, because you come to an MMO, you want to do dungeons, and then it's like that conversation of, well, dungeons aren't really a thing, and it's fractals, and it's like, let's simplify it. Fractals can be their own thing because they're pretty cool already, but yeah, dungeons and DRMs together I think would work.
I think they also need to overhaul the agony resistance grindy business. I think that there must be a better way, or a more integrated way, to unlock the agony resist naturally as you progress through the fractals. I think that the necessity to have to craft, which is what I had to do, to kind of, mind you, I did like jump in at defense, so I might not be a proper case study. I kind of hit it hard and just like did it in a week, but the fact that you can only put these agony resist into ascended armor, I think maybe if they had a specific type of armor that players unlock via this with specific looks, and they could actually have a whole like progression chain through the agony resist and the fractals that was totally unique to it, that would actually might, if it is unique enough, draw more players in for the fashion wars. But yeah, I think the agony resist is a bit of a cock block to players getting into it at the moment. Sorry. Yeah. I see the face. I'm sorry. Sorry.
I'm not making a face about that. I'm just laughing.
I was talking about chickens. It's blocking your chickens, is what I was saying.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. True.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to explain that. It's fine. It makes sense. Everything that everyone said, basically, yes. I think, and we can talk more about that, all that fractal stuff in the future, maybe in a bit. But yeah, I mean, it's always just been hard to. I think the Malcolmist brought up a point of like also just being. And learning as well about like being able to be more casual about it and just have fun doing it, and also that it is also not, it's okay to not get a kill and just be like and enjoy the fun of it potentially, which I think, you know, inevitably is the reason why I wanted to raid as well. It wasn't necessarily really even to get to kill stuff. That's always really good, but it's the more of the banter and the stuff. So like we had the way we did it in our community, well, when we were doing this regularly anyway, I haven't done it regularly for a long time, was just bring whatever you want to bring and play the whatever build you want to play, and then we'll have some volunteers that can cover like some basic roles so we can get further in fights and stuff. And we managed to kill like a certain amount of things, but it was all about the banter and the fun and just the expectation of that, I think, was just, you know,
something that I've personally experienced too is some people live for the progression. Like they live to kill those bosses and wipe over and over again and do something like that. But other people don't have the time for that. So it just depends on what you are looking for in terms of the raiding scene. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
This is gonna
And I
get
think
done.
CMs and LCMs are so good for that. So that with like regular encounters can be like more chill.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what the quick play would be.
Well, I'm just wondering what they're going to do. For example, like for Deimos, if they're going to have a quick play for Deimos, I mean, the way that the community subverted with like a hand kiter and stuff like that, I'm wondering what the hell they're going to do. Because I feel like one of the failings, there's so much good, not to like shit on anyone's parade, but some of the failings in the design of the raid mechanics, or at least failings in the way that the community built up strategies to beat them, is that you have one or two players who have these key roles, and if the person cannot perform that role, then you're up shit creek without a paddle. For example, I have been the tank for Deimos. I mean, we did get the kill eventually, but I mean, I got punted off that platform so many fucking times, and it's just oh my god, it's all like got dragged down into the underworld. Oh fuck, I'm downstairs. But and I feel like there's especially either for the tank or the healer, or a lot of the time the tank being the healer, you got this, so it's like focus of the kind of pressure of the entirety of the raid on one person's shoulders. So I hope that they're gonna kind of subvert that for the tourist lower tiers of raiding, or for the kind of explorer mode, story mode raiding.
I think that's probably something we're going to get to in a minute as well.
Yeah.
More conversation about
Mist stranger hand kiters, like, you just imagine the way it like helps in the fractal incursion events. You get the Mist stranger doing your mechanics. Maybe if it's like, oh well, these Lindas can't do that mechanic, so Mist stranger is just gonna come out and start hand kiting.
Yeah, well, they changed the mechanic. Honestly, I think they just changed it.
Yeah, that's more likely. But I would find it really humorous if that.
I think, if they could program that, like, that would be sick. That would be wicked. I actually think it's a really good, solid idea. To be fair,
I feel like we don't have a lot of examples of ANET going in and changing something from the past, changing a mechanic, updating it. I think that they prefer to make new content and steer people towards it. So I kind of like this new generation. We might see actually some improvements on that stuff. But I would like the Mist Stranger, and you could even have a dialogue that's like, or a pop-up that's like, this is a role that usually a person has to do, but in quick play it's done for you, and so you're like, how do I learn that, or something that could be a thing.
Yeah, I like that idea actually.
yeah.
Glenna shouting the mechanics at you. Yeah, that's good.
I was going to say, can Glenna not just tank the hands? Come on, kite those hands. You can do nothing for a decade.
Glenna jumps into the action.
Yeah.
Or she does some kind of mechanic where they don't hurt her, or she finds some, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you
just
wait,
hits
Glenna just comes and reses everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, in terms of my own thoughts about this, I mean, it's always been, strikes the idea that they were going to be this intro over towards raids was a good idea potentially, but I think, not having that direct link into, right, this is a strike, this is a raid, and now, oh, you're good at this, so now let's put you over to this place, or like consider going to raid. It just didn't feel like it was linked at all, other than the fact that it's just 10-person content, right? Like that's the link there. There's a big boss you kill, but then it's still so separated, and it's not just separated by the name, it's separated by rewards, it's separated by where you go to do them, it's separated by story, everything. So there was too much separation, and I think that's why it never really clicked for a lot of people. And because, it is nice though to just jump in and do one boss, right? And I think there's going to be some controversy around this and what we actually take from this, and whether or not this is what this will be as we go forward and kind of read a little bit more, which I'm going to continue to do now. Ta-da! Let's go. Okay. Love the suggestions in chat as well. Good stuff. We got a little idea about the Mist Stranger and how further they're gonna help us or hinder us, depending. Okay. Raids, encounters and wings. As we made plans to improve strike mission engagement, we came to realize that strikes and raids didn't need to be separate game modes at all. They were both squad-based instance content with similar levels of complexity. Raid wings were just longer and tended to have a bit more complexity per encounter than strike missions did. We were also paying some hidden costs by separating them, such as each game mode having its own separate reward system that didn't incentivize across engagement, not to mention that it was confusing for new players. Still think this took a little bit longer than it should have, but okay. Strike missions will be known as raid encounters going forward and will be siblings with the current raid wings within the larger raids game mode. This should make it easier for newer players to understand and approach. Okay, so I'm actually gonna read the next section because I don't think there's much to go over there. Raiding in 2026. Ooh, 2026. Bloody hell. Sorry. It's like when
Don't think about it too much.
Combining these game modes offers us the opportunity to do much more than making things simpler to understand. In our first major update for Guild Wars 2 Visions of Eternity, we'll also be adding the following to raids: a new UI with quality of life improvements, a list of raid wings and raid encounters will allow you to go directly to the boss you want to tackle, something we can talk about in a minute. The list includes encounter difficulty ratings to inform players. Quick play mode will clip play mode. This is what I was about to say, apparently. Quick play mode. That would be a new offering of video game, that's for sure. Mode to assist players in finding a group for easier raid encounters, a merge reward system for strikes and raid wings, a new Guild Wars 2 Visions of Eternity raid encounter with a challenge mode, a second raid encounter and a challenge mode, and a legendary mode will come in subsequent updates. These features will allow us to better communicate difficulty levels for raids and address the significant quality of life issues that depress engagement. I should have put depressed players. And as many of you have correctly surmised, the quick play mode feature that will be debuted in beta form for the Fractal Incursion bonus event will indeed be added to raids next year to help players find groups for the easiest raid encounters. We're very excited to see how the community engages with our merged raid game mode, and we'll share more details on this in the future in the coming months. Happy gaming. So there is a lot there. Yes. Where do we even start? New UI. I think I want to start there. Let's do that. What do you reckon about this UI? I like this. Anyone? If you're looking at it on the thing,
I can see it.
It's on the stream as well. If you can't see it, what do you reckon? I mean, this is a work in progress, as stated, but probably something a little bit closer to what we actually would want in the game rather than the LFG thing, which is like, you know, or just randomly going into different portals and Jebro going to the wrong one every time and pouring every single person in the raid to that exact raid, which isn't the one we're actually doing, which never happens. Just saying. You know.
So I think, again, we need to go to the World of Warcraft cookie jar and steal some of their... They took flying, so I think they should have carte blanche to take anything they like, right?
Sure.
And I think that World of Warcraft have kind of... They've been doing it for so long, like since 2005 when I was playing... Sorry. But...
That's okay, I was there as well.
I just have a small anxiety. My God, I'm a boomer gamer, but they have like knocked it out of the park when it comes to raid information. So they have a little book which is full of like, you can see the boss models, you can see the loot, it has a brief summation of the fuck, these are going to wipe you mechanics, and it's all there, it's all written out, because unless you're in a progression guild who is wanting to go in completely, you don't have to open the book, right? You can go in, you can do the mechanics, you can do world first, you can do all these things. But I would say that once one guild has beaten the raid content, then why not share what the raid mechanics are, what the loot is, so that people can see what they're getting into. So I think that this is fine. That's fine. But if you want people, they're always hiding their feet in their socks. They need to only feed this shit, and they need to get their toes out, and they need to show the community what's on offer, what's up for grabs. They've got to show a bit of thigh, right? Because if I asked you what loot does which boss drop, I don't have a clue. But if I want to, in World of Warcraft, I can look at the loot table, see all the nice shiny loot with a picture of it so that I know what it looks like. And I'm like, I'm having that, and I'm going to raid the shit out of this content until I have that shiny piece of gear. So I think that they're doing much better with like showing the loot that's available. They're doing these beautiful videos now, which saves me the trouble of doing it, which is great, you know? So I think that they need to do a bit more of that in game. Show, like for the dungeons, the dungeon sets and all the different dungeon sets that are available, for the raids, all the different raid skins that are available, and have it in a nice, concise book. And you can put lore in there, and you can put pictures in there, and you can put suggested other content to lean onto, and it you know, use your UI better rather than hiding everything in achievements. Yeah.
I've had that conversation before.
I 100% agree. I'm so passionate about this like transparency of encounters, because I was raised in Guild Wars 2 by the triple trouble slaying community, and we had to figure out everything ourselves, like egg blocking, like the fact that the eggs can be blocked as projectiles and the husks cannot, and stuff like that was all just like discovery, and it was very, very interesting to us. But you would have people coming in a year after triple trouble was in the game, and they were just like, oh, I thought this event was just bugged because it always fails. Because there was no transparency for people to like know, am I doing something right? Am I doing what am I supposed to do here? And Guild Wars is so like it, like you said, they keep hiding their feet. They do. Why do they keep hiding not only like the mechanics but the rewards? I mean, Halloween's coming up, and I have so much like festivals as well. It's like, you want to find out what's new in the festival? Talk to 50 NPCs, and one of them will have a new skin. Like,
or watch a YouTube video.
Put it in, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You do homework. Do homework for your MMO. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, I mean, I think they've started to change it a little bit with the videos when they show what's coming a little bit more, but not as much. Like, you know, every single time I feel like I get to the end of a festival or the end of something, and then I'm like, oh, there was this, and like now I've been trained for so many years to just go and, like you say, like go and check out and talk to like 20 or 30 NPCs to see if there is an extra piece of armor that I missed from 7 years ago that I could potentially get again, or that there's a new thing. And then it's like, it's hiding. Like you're both saying, is like there's a lot of hidden stuff. So yeah, this UI hopefully will have all of the, and hopefully they rejig a lot of the rewards as well anyway. And what we've been talking about for years now in terms of like, you know, offering different things like skins for gliders or mounts, and, you know, now homesteads, etc., etc. So it will give people the opportunity to be like, okay, I can see the rewards, I can see, you know, some of the base mechanics for this. I can see the base difficulty, which they've got on there as well, which is good. I'm not sure what that boss info thing is.
I was just going to say, what do you think those symbols mean?
I think one of them is an achievement, but
maybe. I think it might be like
exploration. I don't know.
It could be a non-boss encounter. Wait, what's the second thing that happens in Mythrite Gambit?
That, I think what it is actual like encounters inside the thing. So it's boss, encounter, boss.
Yeah. So because some raids don't just have some raids don't just have bosses, like the escort.
Right. Yeah. So this is Mythrite Gambit. So this is going to be the very first boss, which is the big construct guy. And then it's the thing where you have to go do the killing of the miniatures and the killing of the shark and stuff like that. And then the next one's the twins, and the next one's Kadim 1.
Okay, that makes
It looks like you can select them then.
Yeah,
as well.
Yep. You can queue for just one.
So it's probably telling you which ones you've completed, which ones you haven't, and you can choose which ones you haven't completed.
Or, whatever. Cool.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, is there? I mean, that's a conversation I want to come back to, but just in the general UI thing, is there any more thoughts about this? Like, I mean, it's obviously a good thing. Like, this is obviously, and it's a work in progress. They're still working on it, but like, you know, you've got a little bit of an opportunity because the devs definitely watch this, so you've got a little bit of an opportunity to share what you might also want to see in this. Is there anything else they can add, or like people in like the fact this exists in the first place? Obviously, they need a UI for what this is going to be. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I think. Oh, go ahead, Fornax. Your light bulb is up.
Sorry. I did put my light bulb on. I just dropped something. It's fine. I would say that I noticed that. How can I put this? I guess this is tangentially related. So they're going to be bringing up new raids. There's going to be new content. We're getting a Halloween thing, right? And one thing that's been really helpful playing Palia and playing World of Warcraft is when I first pop into the game, as soon as I log in, I get a pop-up and it tells me exactly what's happening in the world. So, for example, say I log in during the Dragon Festival. When I log in, you might get a letter, but what I would love is a much better, more interesting visual demonstration of what's happening. So a pop-up that shows me what map I'm supposed to go on, what festival it is, with a blurb about the lore or the thing. And then and a part of that is showing all the rewards that is available for that encounter while it's on and how long it's on for, so I've got an idea of how long I've got to get my shit together to get these things. And as they introduce new things to the game, or as someone like levels through, these pop-ups could come up and direct them to content rather than it always being a few lines that nobody ever reads the mail, and it's more visually interesting. So I think that they need to communicate what's happening in the game, what new content is arriving, what gear, what stuff that they've actually done all this hard work on to the community. Again, they're always hiding the great stuff that's going on, and and not sharing it with, especially with like casual players. A lot of Guild Wars 2 players are super casual. So when you pop in and you're like, God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. If you had these kind of welcome back, this is what's been happening. This is what's going on. This is where, you know, you left off or something like that. It would be so much better for players to be able to kind of get that instant feedback about what's happening. So this is like tangential to like, this is like, you know, Daddy, I want a pony wish list kind of things that I would like to see introduced into the game.
Yeah, that's okay though.
Yeah. Once again, Fornax, I'm 100% with you. I've been talking about a festivals tab for years, like just a thing where the current festival is. You can see the currency there. You can see the rewards that you can get, and you don't have to step to NPCs. You can just see it all there. Everything in Guild Wars is an achievement. So like you have to like go through, and some of them are in the dailies and other ones are in the festivals, and some in like it's all moving around. It's so overwhelming for new players or for old players. Like I have people, we all have, right? Because a lot of us are streamers and stuff. We have people in our communities who are like, wait, what's going on right now? And they're not new to the game. They just don't read the patch notes. And so they're always lost. So yeah. I 100% agree.
Literally me most of the time. So.
I feel like it's something in the Wizard's Tower.
Where am I?
So it's okay to feel lost, everyone. Just ask someone else that's not me. No, I'm a little bit more knowledgeable than I let on. I'm just taking a piss on myself. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I'm just, when I saw this image itself, I was just exponentially happy, and I was just like, thank God we're gonna get rid of that silly LFG. Well, not get rid of it, but like this LFG thing is just like always done my head in. Just to finding raids and finding groups, etc., and like it just being so inaccessible. And this you've got the little people at the top, and then you know you've the flipping icon, and it doesn't really tell you exactly what that does. And it's like, well, and now you've got to go and find the LFG part of that, and it's just so convoluted. And so I bet that more than half the community in that play the game don't even use it or look at it. I'm pretty confident about that. I'm pretty confident that they barely use it ever at all.
I'd be willing to believe that. You mean you don't want to browse through 50 different tabs to find the correct category?
Exactly
Like
right.
the LFG, it's so clunky. I had it on my bingo card for this expansion. I'm very happy. It's doing really well.
Nice, good.
Yeah.
That is cool. yeah. Like, let's bring all of Lelling's bingo card wishes to fruition, please. It's very true. Any more just general comments in the UI? Because I got some specific questions for you all.
I had one just based on I like to sort things differently. So having different filters or sorting options on this versus just where things are located or what expansion they come out of. For instance, one of the ways I would want to sort this especially would be like your difficulty level. So if I could get a list of like easiest to most difficult or vice versa, then I know I could like work my way up the skill ladder sort of instead of having to like dig through this. So I mean that's a wish list. This is great and I really like the new UI coming, but
that's a really good point, though.
If Ana wants to add me some filters and sorting options, that would be great. I could filter out what I've already done for the week too. That would
actually be a really good idea in terms of what progressing would be like as well, because like progressing could just be through the difficulty of the bosses throughout strikes and raids rather than just you're going through the raid wing itself. So you could be like, I'm going to the next boss, which is we're based on the difficulty created by Arena or Guild or Seal, community or whatever. But then what I think would be cool is if you'd hit a new tier of difficulty, there's like, a reward system engaged that increases like rewards based on, maybe the difficulty or whatever as well. So that would be some good thoughts coming up around this. So there is a lot that you could have in terms of this UI filters. I think you should definitely be in there. I like that idea because I like the idea of progressing through difficulty of bosses and being like, okay, every week I know that I can do these amount of bosses and I can just enter, and this is coming up to the question I'm about to give you all, just enter into that specific boss, because there's like bosses which aren't the first boss, which are a lot easier than this, what is it like Masat Overseer, like for example, like easy peasy. Maybe you just bash that out first and everyone's kind of goes off of this awesome kill and you just enter into that one encounter, which I think is really good. But I know that people are having thoughts about, and this is where my question is, whether or not you should be entering into just an encounter on its own and then that takes away what raids actually are, or if you should be progressing through the raid as if it's boss 1, boss 2, boss 3, boss 4. So I'm not necessarily saying I agree or disagree with anything here, because I actually like the idea of just going to a boss immediately rather than just going through the whole raid, so you can just progress on it, or don't have to rely on buying a raid where there's a progression up to that. But also there is the very old school kind of mindset of like, you do the one boss, you do the next boss, you do the next boss, and you kind of get rewarded because you've gone through these different encounters. And what that could mean in terms of how players feel about that. I mean, what do you all think? Does that make sense, that question, in a way? Like, how do you feel about like being able to just enter into one boss and then just leave?
I feel like they need to incentivize going into regular raids. And well, I mean, I obviously have the system, which is really good, where you can go in and do certain bosses and learn them and get training that you normally wouldn't be able to get. But like, having an incentive to actually go into the normal raids and do it normally is probably really, really important. Otherwise, this is just going to take over and no one's going to do it normally.
What do you think that incentive should look like extra loot, extra currency? Should it be legendary, prog, like you have to do it for a raiding armor, or what does that look like?
That's a good point, actually. The raiding armor, yeah. Chris?
I'm not really sure. Like I would think that they would obviously increase the loot table. Maybe add some things so that maybe veterans of raids can still go back in and get some new loot or new skins or whatever. Maybe they could have like a not even like it's almost like a season pass where if you get certain amount of points inside raids and do actual raids, that you'll be able to unlock new things and get new things for doing said things. So I kind of like how we did it with the incursion, where the more raids you did or the more quick plays you did, you would get some loot. But I hope that they do that in terms of like actually going through and doing the raids normally.
Okay.
I kind of hope that this is going to sound weird. So if you think about Bastion,
words coming out of your mouth sounding weird. That's not massively surprising.
Thank you, darling. Hang on.
You're so
Here's the
welcome.
button. There we go.
You got to use it.
So,
Excellent.
So okay, we're into the Phonax would like section again, but thinking about like dungeons like Bastions or raids like Bastions of the Penitent, right? It is narratively fantastic. You have all this story, all this hidden lore, and what I would love to see is like them actually make that into a lore raid. So there's the version that maybe for the lowest level, it's a narrative experience, right? Where and you have like they could attach, if you wanting people to go through it, they could attach like housing items or toys and prestige little bits and pieces for like going through the story. That would be very like you get a nice library book that's called Bastion of the Penitent that sits on the table and there's a beautiful like image of like Deimos on the front, right? That you can have as it doesn't have to be like gear, it doesn't have to be world changing, but just something beautiful and interesting and fun and lore related. And I would love to see these like narrative journeys through the raids, but I also think that there's a place for just you and your group getting in there and smashing the shit out of it on a hard mode. I think what the best thing to do is to serve both worlds and have incentives for people to go in and do it narratively and experience it as a gamer, as a lore nerd, as a casual, and then there's the hardcore hair on fire, let's burn the tits off this bitch and get the loot. And I think that both of those things can live together quite happily, and I don't think it has to be an either or. I just think at the moment the narrative, enjoying the story has been lost because the majority of the people going in there and getting to do it are people who just want that hair on fire, like the room is flames and I have to survive it, right? And so I feel like them opening up the variety of difficulty and having these more casual modes will give them a lot more opportunity to have a narrative experience for all gamers.
Is that the story mode raids are in? They brought that to WoW, didn't they? It was like at the end of. So you can do a raid in story mode because there is a raid version which tells you the end of this story of like in PvE, right? Okay.
Yeah. So in World of Warcraft, they've introduced basically what Guild Wars, the original campaigns had. So you have NPC characters go with you into a dungeon. So it's like your henchmen if you played the original franchise. You go in, you select your role. You can be a tank, you can be a healer, you can be damage. And you can have the NPC lead you through the dungeon. So if it's a complicated multi-level affair, you don't get lost in the weeds, right? And you can experience the dungeon, you can experience the mechanics. If you are learning to tank, this is wonderful because there's so much pressure when you are the tank. You're supposed to know everything, every mechanic. You're supposed to know every nook and cranny, every skip, everything. And so it allows you to learn the dungeon. It also allows you to experience it narrative. For example, if you think about ESO and their dungeons, there are so many skips and hacks and jumps and go here. And if you're going in as a new player and you're actually there and you want to experience the story of the dungeon, you are shit out of luck. So yeah, I think that if they were going to do anything, if they wanted to make it even more casual friendly, but they wanted to hold the raid format, they would just have to introduce some sort of like NPC henchman to the mix and allow people to queue in that kind of solo dungeon. And I think 14 does it as well. They have raids just with like the companions, just with with your companion NPCs. And it would be nice to like it could actually be an extended use for Bram and all of our buddies who we don't see anymore. They could be the NPCs who we take into the dungeon, who tank and have fun, and then they could have like additional dialogue, and you could really fucking have fun with this. You could really play with this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is another thing, like this companion system. If they worked on that, that would be so useful as well, because they could use it in the story. I think, especially now, we're living sort of maybe in what I would call a vacuum that Dragon Age has left, since, you know, it's not as good as it used to be, and people really like those kinds of stories where you can take different companions to it and they love to replay it. And if you had a companion system that would work in raids, you could also make it work in personal story, in, you know, the new expansion story. And so you could have, like, obviously you have one or two that always go there because that they're driving the story of that chapter. But then you could have like, oh, I'm going to take either Bram or Kaith or Pokey or whoever is present at that, like, as the options. And you choose like one or two. And I think that would open so many things. So like if they worked on a system of essentially henchmen, they could use it in raids, they could use it to help out in quick play, like we talked about Deimos kiting. They could use it in story. So it'd be a really powerful system if they worked on it, just from a development point of view.
Just be access.
I think that was what they were trying to do with Dragon Response missions, because you have the NPCs, you have the dialogue, you have the additional lore, but they just failed with how it was delivered, because the NPCs were actually, honestly, sometimes more of a hindrance than anything else. So they would have to well, you know, am I lying?
Yeah.
So, but I think that that's what they were trying to do. But I think that it can be done. I think it can be done, and I'm very hopeful that we're going to get like more solo, because I think a lot of people play solo Guild Wars 2. I think that it's low key, like people like to play it like a standalone RPG a lot of the time.
I think we've entered into the realm in the last since COVID, actually, a lot of people do play MMORPG solo. Like they do. Yeah. They do, just genuinely do.
Yeah.
Like they could even extend it further, like for training purposes too. Like if someone wanted to learn a certain role, they could maybe have NPCs take the place of the rest of the raiders, and you can learn like hand kiting or the different roles that are inside raiding itself that you don't normally have unless you go and look for it on YouTube or something like that. So maybe they could add like a training aspect to it as well.
That would be so useful.
Sure.
The only problem I see there is that ArenaNet has this development approach when it comes to encounters, which is they are not prescriptive with strategies. So they develop an encounter, and then players will develop strategies like egg blocking at Triple Trouble or hand kiting at Deimos. And so coding in NPCs that do that role is something that they could only do in post after the community has developed that. And then it's sort of like that's now the prescribed role. And if the strategy ever changed by players, or like it would basically never change because now it's baked into the game. And I don't know if ArenaNet wants that, but I think they might want to.
Maybe
think
it could be
about
like an addition, like for instance, they could put it in for all the wings that have already existed, but everything that's coming, they could have like a window of a couple months where everyone kind of gets like the world kills and the first looks at it, and then they implement the tutorials for people who want to get into it afterwards.
Yeah. I think that would
I don't think it has to be that prescriptive, to be honest. I mean, because for example, when I was tanking in the twins, it's about positioning with shit on the ground and moving yourself out of it. So they could build an encounter. So you want to be a tank. Here's your tank training, and you go through your tank training, and there are different variations of these sort of encounters that you would be going up against. So you have to make sure that you stand in here. You have to make sure that you're able to kite over here. And it's about training situational awareness, which can be applied multiplicatively across a variety of encounters, right? Rather than just training for one specific like situational scenario. If you give players, it's the whole like, teach a man to fish and he'll never go hungry and all that nonsense. But it's the ground skills, the kind of foundation upon which you can then build up with confidence, because you know how to move. You've developed your situational awareness, and they have. If it would be nice if they had universal telegraphing of abilities. This ability you spread. This ability you hug. This ability, if there's stuff on the ground and it's stuff that I shouldn't be stood in, please have it as one color, because I want to know where I can stand. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
this is a huge struggle that Guild Wars has. It's so untransparent, and like somebody once described it, who's not a Guild Wars player from my community, they came in doing I think a Dragon Storm, and they were like, oh, visually this is a lot to consider. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's this like very chaotic, you don't know where to stand, you don't know what to do. Welcome back.
welcome back.
Hi, it moved me to AFK muted for some reason.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh no, we've
moved on
swapped.
for a bit.
Oh, I'm
That's
Jebro now.
interesting.
Hi everyone, it's Jebro.
Ooh, okay.
Oh no, I'm
might
back.
Hey.
Hang on.
Okay, we moved back.
have to look at that.
Yeah.
I promise I didn't touch anything. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So the visual clutter and like where to stand and stuff, I think that's really cool. I like your idea of sort of like a hollow room that lets you train in like stuff, and you could even be like, oh, set like a pattern, AoE pattern for this boss, AoE pattern for that boss. I think that could kind of work. But again, that's a lot of work, and I don't think ArenaNet has the
we
scale
are going to the realm of ponies right now. Yes, which is okay. Which is okay. It's okay. I did say that ponies were okay. Ponies are okay.
I have something on this, and you can tell me if I'm talking too much. I have something more about this like single encounter and like this chapter that we read on the blog post.
Yeah.
Which is like strikes and raids didn't need to be separate game modes at all. They're very similar. Raid wings are just longer and more complex. I think one of the things that's a bit alarming here is the key difference between raids and strikes. Which
Rides and strikes. Hey.
Yeah.
That works, I guess.
which Ana is leaving out of this is that raids had a story. They had their own story, and strikes did not. Strikes were like snapshots from the existing story.
Sure.
And this kind of sad. It makes me think that they're thinking of it only in terms of mechanics, but not in terms of like the full package. Which is like, what is the whole thing that the raids were also giving you this like Glenna storyline that was really interesting. And obviously with single boss focus, you kind of lose some of that as well.
I mean, you lose all of it.
Yeah.
it's disjointed as hell. I mean, you're right. It's a very good point, I think, actually. I haven't heard that point much.
I think on that, part of the reason why I've just been sitting here taking this all in is because I've been struggling with the fact of like, how do we incentivize raids so that people still do the whole raid encounter? But if we're talking about raid encounters in the whole, we're including strikes now, and they, then what's the incentive in doing the strike encounters, right? So I hesitate to want to be like, we need to put a whole bunch of incentive to get folks to do like the full raid story, and then I'm like, I just think it's just going to create an opposite problem where people are not going to want to do the strike encounters then as much. If we're talking about the same like loot table now, and it, so I don't know the right answer to it. I mean, like, I know there is the what was I just looking at, the weekly like Call of the Mists raid encounter, you get double gold, and what if you do that particular one, I think that can still maybe exist if you do the full thing. And then the emboldened modes as well, I still think that there's room for that to exist. But yeah, I really hesitate in saying I think we should incentivize more than that, but I don't know what the right solution is.
I think the incentivizing is just warning. I think for that kind of thing, if you want to do the story and you want to have the story of all the, of a raid wing, like, you would just want to go and do it because it is the story and you're just into that. But I think that's kind of maybe Lenning is kind of saying as well, like, in a way, this kind of construction, or in moving forward, will dictate whether or not you do have like a story wing, like where you have story that goes through a whole wing of bosses and what that created for people. Because now it's just going to be essentially like, why you don't need to make raid wings anymore at all, because you've just got raids are just encounters, and now you've just, and where does is there going to be this elongated story, which was so cool in wing, like even just in the first wings we got, and Sal and everything else, like we're gonna miss those big kind of story beats and lore pieces, which a lot of the community have missed anyway because they haven't done it. But that is when this more story mode dungeon can come in. And there was this really awesome thing that Rift did, which was the first MMORPG that ever did this, and I always cream over this fucking game because it's so good. Well, it used to be good until Tryon fucked themselves. And they basically created story mode dungeons, which was a solo version of the entire, solo player story raids, where they created the whole raid around one player, and you just went into it, and you would just kill the bosses really easily, but you got all of the story that would come from the raid encounters, but the rewards are very minimal. And they weren't like raid rewards at all. You might get like a tiny bit of currency to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, but it was really just to get the story, and it was just there, and like it was a story dungeon, but it was just one player, and you could do it with a couple more people. But yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult because I remember go through those raids and how it felt so good and special and unique to have all the story, and then a lot of people just didn't get it. They just didn't get to experience that at all. And like I said, when 50% of the community don't use the LFG, and I think it's probably more, I think there's at least 80 to 90% probably of the community that have never walked into a raid ever. Whether or not that be a newbie or a vet. Like, I mean, it's they've not experienced that anyway. So I think there should be a bridging of that story. Also, it does, it tell like what about the future and how they produce these, because are they just going to be encounters that we run into, or is there going to be a lot of story that goes behind these encounters specific? Because you can't really have a lot of story in just one encounter, can you? I mean, there's not going to be a lot.
So if you think about how Final Fantasy XIV rolls their raids into their narrative, that going to the raids is a natural progression of the narrative. Every dungeon, every raid, every solo encounter, because they have a lot of solo bosses in Final Fantasy XIV, and they're all rolled into the narrative. So it actually stops your progression of the story until you beat this. So they really push that. Okay. What Guild Wars could do is roll this stuff into the narrative. So part of doing like the Icebrood saga is the raid encounters, the strike encounters, but you can have them at a story level. So you can have it at a story level, at a narrative level, bring in those NPCs, or have it as an option in the LFR. Do story mode. Oh, I want to go in and do story mode on this, and it's very simple. And you can roll up. You can either do it with NPCs, you can roll up into the LFR. They're looking for grouped, and then just have it automatically group you, and then you can move on with the story. Because most of this stuff they could easily tag into the story. They could, everything they could tag into the story because it's all story related.
They kind of did that with End of Dragons with the extract missions. A lot of the extract missions were part of the story itself.
Yeah. Yeah, for example, you had to do the last boss as well. You had to do Suon. You had to be able to go and do the platform in order to complete the expansion. Some people were a bit salty because it was quite a difficult encounter, and they may want to, cool their balls with this kind of thing. But if they have an appropriately leveled
not everyone has balls as well, Fornax, but I get what you're saying.
Look, girls have gonads too. We just call them a different thing, okay? It's true. Yeah. So off topic. But no, I feel like this could all be rolled into the story. And I also think that this can roll into the ethos of, now we're doing a special on this storyline. Go back and do season 1, go back and do season 2. And now they've added these new raid encounters into the story. It's something new for people to go back into. If they put some nice loot and some nice vanity rewards behind it, then they could push people into this content quite neatly. And get some return on all the time and investment that they've spent in development time that has been completely ignored by the community because of how it's been rolled out.
Also, there will be there will be an offshoot of the Lightbringers called Biology with Fornax, and it's gonna be very interesting. We're just gonna try it. We're gonna it's going to be a beta in the future. We'll see how that works. There's going to be pictures. There's going to be pictures, and they're probably going to move. There's going to be bits that move, and Fortnite is going to be responsible for it. Yeah, it's there you go. Engel named it earlier. That's the bits and bobs stream. Offshoot.
Nice.
Do you have gonads? Don't say no. You don't know.
Lightbringers.
Fornax knows if you have balls or not.
Gonads or not. Yes. It's a new section. Yes.
Excellent. I don't know
where
we are now.
I was learning about cuttlefish this week. We could go on a complete tangent. They are amazing. Nice. Anyway, carry on. They're so amazing.
That's great.
Yeah. Almost as cool as tardigrades, but not quite. Yeah.
Issues and concerns. Okay, I'm wondering about. I'm just gonna have a quick look through this and just to see. Oh yeah, that's it. The quick play. Is there any more thoughts on that? Because I do want to go over to what a quick play would look like and how that might be quite difficult to get together. Quite difficult and also not, based off of the Fractal event we've had recently. And if you don't know about the Fractal Incursion event, they paired this with a beta for quick play for which on auto LFG for getting into fractals, which is Guild Wars 2 versions of dungeons, even though they have dungeons as well. Still confused? Don't worry, everyone else is as well. So it's okay. One day they'll become the same thing as well, probably. We'll work that out somehow. I just looked at I just went to the Guild Wars 2 wiki page and typed in instance and all the different instances that came up, and I was like, oh yeah, there is a lot. And whoever said Dragon Response missions earlier, I was like, oh my god, that's actually in the game. I forgot about that. I don't remember. The last time I did them was because of the legendary amulet, which probably not many people remember or know about if you're a new player. So another new thing. Anyway, what a quick play would look like if it's viable. Would you be able to queue up because there's 10 people and not 5? Can you even queue up? What's that going to look like? I mean, because the tech is different. You sign up for a role. How do they actually make sure that that's your role? You're a healer, you're a support, you do quickness, you do that. What does that mean? And is a quick play queue just like queuing up for the really easy encounters, which maybe don't even require roles, and maybe they're actually different versions of the bosses, because there's complications with this system, surely, because they're going to have to come up with a brand new way of trying to make sure that they're getting the right people in the right roles if you want to assign roles in the first place, because there is no system in the game that currently does that. at all.
I feel like it's going to be similar to the fractal incursion, where it's not going to require rolls,
Mhm.
and it's just going to make it easy enough where you don't need the boons to do it.
Do you
Mm.
think
True.
that quick play will apply to every single boss encounter?
No.
No.
I think
Because
that's
I
worded.
don't. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
the easier ones, and like Mal said, rolls probably won't matter
Sure.
with how they set the
Sure.
difficulty in those quick plays.
Think about the so if you think about some of the easier bosses though, you still need healing in it. You still need healing in every single one. There's a basic thing, right? Like there's not one raid encounter or strike encounter where I'm like, well, other than maybe some strikes, sorry, because I don't think there. Well, but still, yeah. I mean, healing is gonna have to be a thing, and even in I mean, some of these bosses might not even be rated as the lowest difficulty, but some of the ones which we consider the lowest difficulty, it's like, well, actually, there is going to be someone who's going to be technically tanking something as well. So it's like, I don't
Also-
know.
It could be where it's like the fractal incursion again, where if you die or if you go down, you're going to be rezzed by the guy. So that's probably not going to be.
Is the
anything
Mist
that's-
Stranger a healer then, as well?
Could be.
This would be so problematic for healers
Mm.
then, because people would be like, oh, well, if you queued as a healer, you're just lowering the average DPS, which is a whole. Oh, I have so much to say about the DPS, which we won't go into. But I think
Sure.
the like rampant ceiling of DPS is wild in Guild Wars. But that's the thing that I'm also curious about, because it's the thing about prescriptive like LFGing, because Guild Wars doesn't just have the healer role, it also has the 2 boon roles, which is also a doozy to explain to new players. It's like, so in Guild Wars, we don't have tanks, but we do have this fun thing called alacrity and quickness. And we already know that ArenaNet doesn't like that this exists. So I don't know if they would make LFG support this. There was that one interview in which I don't remember who exactly it was, but a senior ArenaNet person was like, if we could do it again, we would not have alacrity and quickness, which I think makes a lot of sense, right?
Yes, please.
Because it's
Let's
so
go
limiting.
back to that time.
Yeah, and would they add that to quick play? Because I know so many people who hate not having both of those boons. Like they are used to their rotations just having 100% uptime, and they're annoyed if they don't have that, which is so like I don't tend to play with people like that, but yeah, it's there is a huge contingent of those players, and I think that they will probably have a lot to say about this. And I think quick play is going to be very interesting if it's just an assortment of random people, and then you have like 6 healers, and somebody's got to change. And
Yeah,
it's
but I feel like
well,
there's that expectation, because everyone that played the fractal incursion said it was really, really fun, and they had a lot of fun. Even people who are veterans in fractals and stuff like that. And I don't think there's going to be an expectation that people are going to be pulling their weight per se.
Right.
So I don't think there's going to be that kind of expectation when going in, where people are going to be like, oh, I'm going to have my boons, or I'm going to have my healer, or I'm going to have the top DPS or whatever. I don't think that's going to be an expectation from people, because they're deliberately queuing for this, and they know what they're getting into, I feel.
I think they'll continue to play raids the way they currently are. If that's how they like to play them, they'll use a static, or they'll go into the harder, the CM, the legendary modes, in order to min-max that over quick play.
If it drops anything that looks like raid tokens, raiders will use it 100%. They'll min-max it.
This is the thing. I think like people behave like the player behavior in an MMO is just like people behavior in real life, where people will take the road of least resistance, right?
Sure.
It's like if you want people to not use cars, you just have an alternative. And then it's the same here, which is I think if quick play becomes a fast way of getting stuff, it will completely kill classic raiding. But if there is, like we talked about, these like incentives and stuff, then it won't. So I think that's maybe like where it depends. And I still think that like it depends on how they're gonna tune the bosses for quick play.
Mhm.
Because with 10 A heals accidentally all being clumped together in quick play, all pulling like 2k DPS or something, this is gonna be a very different encounter. Because that's the other thing. When we rate some encounters as easy, it's because by now our DPS is so big that we skip some mechanics, right? Like think of Gorseval, where we don't really do the gliding part anymore, and other stuff where you're basically just so out DPSing the mechanics. So in quick play, if people are coming in with their open world average player DPS, which is below 5k, I think it's gonna be a big difference. For reference, people who do raids and stuff on high end, they'll be doing like 20 to 30k, which is a wild number. I think that's a design issue, but that's another topic.
It's funny you mentioned that because World of Warcraft have just introduced one button builds. So it's a button. It can never do as much DPS as a skilled player. It's about at least 25% off max DPS.
Still pretty good though, honestly. I've been using that a little bit recently when I've just been walking around. It's quite good.
Well, you think about it. Even if you're a veteran player, if you're going into a new encounter and you wanna test it, and you wanna and in a lot of new encounters, there's 17,000 different things pulling at your attention, and it skips you off your rotation. It's nice to be able to have a one button build whereby you can just focus on the raid mechanics, right? So I think there's a lot to be said about having a simplification of mechanics and DPS output. But I think it'll all be down to tuning. I think that they can tune them as low or as high as they want to. And I also think that if they want to maintain a shadow of, because let's face it, they can change the mechanics. They can delete some mechanics. They can delete some phases. They could easily, for example, when you have the split at Deimos, they could just yeet half the raid down below and leave half the raid up. There are things that they can do within their remit as game developers. They can have it so that, for example, Deimos is tanked by the guy in chains. What's he called? Sol D'Alessio. Sol D'Alessio could now be the tank. They could activate him as the tank, and he stays up there chained, getting beaten the shit out by the demon, and that would actually make quite a lot of sense, right? Narratively speaking. So there are things that they can do within the mechanics that they have, and they can set the levels, right? I think it's totally doable for them to have almost every encounter. These are very clever people. Devs are inventive wizards. Okay, they can do many things. I have faith that we will see eventually every encounter as some sort of crazed hybrid, Hunchback of Notre Dame version of itself, and it will give elite raiders the opportunity to be very smug, and well, I can tank this with my eyes shut, never get booted, and it's nice, it's fun. You've got bragging rights, but I also think in terms of like incentives, they're going to have to be very careful how they incentivize it. And I keep talking about World of Warcraft, but I think it's one of the best like raiding MMOs. So they have different tiers and different looks of loot, which gets people in. And you will find hardcore raiders doing every single one of these. They will go from the newbie looking for group to normal to heroic to mythic, and they will do them all in a week to get all the rewards that they can and all the tokens that they can, and they will do that because that's what they want to do. And so I think that you can have all these things as long as I think a lot in the beginning of like raiding, people were very like, oh, we must lock out, we must make sure that people are already doing this content once a week, and we must and I think you just leave the players alone, let them decide what they want to do. That they're give them the incentives and let them play in the sandbox that you've made.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts.
I'm very curious because like the new WoW raiding scene, because I haven't played WoW in like 15 plus years. what is the, like you said, the one click builds are like 75% of the damage, or like 25% under the top DPS. So this disparity of DPS, my thing is that in Guild Wars, this is the core design problem, because Guild Wars is not a global cooldown static usabilities type MMO. It's an action combat. The problem is that it's going to be very easy to bring the floor of the DPS up without like also raising the ceiling. And in Guild Wars, we have disparities where some people are benching 40, 50k, and then your average person is doing 2k or 3k DPS. And there's definitely situations where also you're using more abilities and you're actually doing less DPS than if you would just be auto attacking. And I find that in Guild Wars, we're always lowering the ceiling, like through nerfing, and that also nerfs everyone else. Like Fresh Air Elementalist, a lot of people were just doing 15k on that, and then it got nerfed because some people were doing 45k. And in WoW, is there a difference where you have like somebody doing like 2k and then somebody doing 50k? I don't think that this disparity exists in WoW for like DPS builds.
Right. There is a huge disparity between an experienced player, and it's not just all the gear and no idea. It's not that. So there. I'm a veteran, right? So, but I know that I am piss poor at doing builds. I don't do the synergies. I have honestly very little interest. So what I do as a veteran player is you would go to Snowcrows, I go to Icy Veins, I look at the tier list for the damage, I copy pasta the damage build that is doing the best for the game mode that I'm interested in doing. I put it in, and then I either look up the rotation, or if it's a brand new class, I'll put the button on and I'll just press that one button and go and get my loot. Right? Sure. But I know that the person stood next to me, who is an experienced mage, can do like 2/3 as much as me if they're better geared and know the appropriate rotations and have maybe even a better build than I do. So there is a huge disparity, which is why sometimes in LFR it's dog shit. Sometimes in LFR, you cannot kill this. This is baby mode, rails, cushions everywhere, bosses, and you still fall flat on your face. But that's just the reality of gaming. Sometimes you'll going in, and if you are raiding in WoW, Wednesday is a good day to raid, because that's when it turns over, and that's when all the super experienced players go in. So if you want to get carried through all those raiding counters, go in on a Wednesday, do the LFR, and the boss just melts in front of you. But you can't engineer out the ineptitude or awesomeness of your player base, and there's always going to be someone who's fantastic and someone who is just there pressing buttons hoping that they get the nice hat that they're there for. And I don't think that there's any problem with that. I just think that
live for
you have to accept it. Exactly.
Some people live for the numbers. Like, they love being able to push as far as they possibly can and be the best they possibly can, but other people live just to do the encounters. So it depends on what you personally find enjoyment through MMOs.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I just think that in Guild Wars we've seen so much balancing around the people who are not even 1%. They're like 0.01% of players who bench those 45Ks. And it's also like it's much more difficult to balance, because in a game, in an MMO with global cooldowns, you're essentially just, if you want to lower the ceiling, you have a spreadsheet of your skills, and because there's global cooldowns, you have very pure calculations for how much damage can be achieved, versus Guild Wars, which is like, you don't know how much damage can be achieved. The players might just create a build that runs away with it. And I think so often people get punished who are on the casual tier, because these, like, the people who want to run away with their numbers, they just expect it of other people. I've definitely had people when we used to run a raid team that would train people, like, if you want to do a build that's not meta, we will train you how to do it so that you can still kill the boss. Our raid leaders got like death threats. They were like, yo, you're ruining the game by making people play not meta. And we were just like, we just want to enable more access to stuff. And I've had somebody in my stream just the other day who was like, if you're queuing with a build that's not on Snow Crows, you should be kicked out because you're wasting everybody's time.
Yeah, I mean that kind of thing's been around for a long time. It's kind of wild.
And that's what I would say to that. Yeah.
I think that's an expectation. I think that's an expectation created as well by I'm gonna say it, but I think by bigger streamers in our directory as well, and people who advertise that kind of thing. I think that's been created by people within our community, and I think that's kind of frustrating and annoying.
Good thing
I think you find elitism everywhere. Sorry.
Absolutely, someone's got to do it though, haven't they? That's the problem. C words.
The good thing is not everyone does that, and you can still find people that are very welcoming in the raiding community.
I.e. these.
Oh yes,
these
100%.
These mofo's right here. Right, like that's the thing. You can find new people, but hopefully this is going to give us a little bit more access to this. I've literally been like sitting back and just listening mostly to this podcast. It's just been like, yeah, that. Exactly. Yes. Good. That's right. Okay, so just before I don't want to go on for too much longer because I realize that we can continue this chat and probably go around in circles, and also it's all very interesting and I'm loving listening to everything you're saying. I think one thing that would be nice to kind of maybe as we wind down things a bit is to think about the rewards and how those, because they're getting merged, their quote is a merged reward system for strikes and raids. What the hell is that gonna look like? What could that be like? Like, what do people in chat, for example, like what would you like to see as different rewards, or rewards? If rewards are merged between strikes and raids, what are the rewards that you really want to stay? And where you're like, yeah, okay, we still need that, but also we could have this. Like, what kind of rewards would you like to have? And potentially ponies can be a thing if you want to go into the pony sphere of things. It could be relevant. So any thoughts on Malcolm? What kind of rewards would you like to see added maybe to raids and strikes, and what's important to keep, or pick? Do you have some thoughts about?
I think keeping like the magnetite shard system and making it so it's all one currency would be really, really good. Making things that are very boss specific, so if you've killed a certain boss you can get a certain skin, and so that you can kind of show off what you've done. It's like a little memento of what you've accomplished, basically. Could be certain infusions, could be certain armors, it could be stuff like that. But I think the way that they've been doing it has been good. Like if you've killed a boss, you can access certain loot, as well as like everyone loves infusions. I don't know anyone that doesn't like infusions. So I think keeping on with that would be a really good idea.
Do you think they should add new infusions, or just use the older ones, or?
Maybe could do like new stuff. Like it would be really cool to add like maybe like a Deimos centered infusion. That'd be pretty cool. Or like a Dean, like where like gold's falling around you or something. But just something that would add more incentive for people to come back into raids, even if like you're a veteran raider that stopped raiding because it just got boring or something. Just bring something in that's new that you can then go in and get new shinies. So
I'll have you know, my moderator just DM'd me saying down with infusions, as he is somebody who does not like infusions. Does not like the shinies. So yes, I'll call him out and shame him. But
Godhead.
I am of a similar mind of most of them. The only good one is the dwarf one, which is the one I have.
Make me blindingly shiny, and that's my vibe.
The dwarf one's great, and the one which gives you an outline, so it makes the game look better than it is.
Wow.
The outline of your character actually like brings it into focus a little bit more compared to the rest of the game. I actually think the outline should be added to every single character. It's okay. It's just because of age.
Yeah.
I'm not insulting the graphics. It's like flipping, you know what? Like, it's pretty old. It's a pretty old game now. Been around for a while.
And you could also do like a lot more homesteads too. Like this was mentioned earlier, but
There
like
you
you
go.
can add more decorations for killing bosses and stuff like that. Instead of just being like the big trophies that you would get for the guild hall, you can get like Deimos himself. I don't know.
You could just get
wandering
Deimos.
instead. Just
Yeah, that'd be
Tabitha, farming your crops.
I like
having
it.
a,
Yeah,
having a
right.
tea party.
I like how
Yeah,
Malcolm is
exactly.
just like, you could add rewards for homesteads and just goes right to Deimos in your instance. Like, yeah,
Well,
just
he
walking
has
around.
many arms. He could just like stand in the middle of all your mounts, patting them all simultaneously.
You
That would
employ
be
him.
He could be
Yeah.
running in my cafe and serving all those cats.
Yeah, there you go.
Beautiful.
Those are very wholesome thoughts, and I don't know
That's
any
not where I
Deimos
went.
enjoyers who, yeah.
That's
There are
amazing.
Deimos enjoyers. Did I miss that on Guild Wars After Dark? Oh,
Of
no.
course there is. Of course
That's
there is.
There
for
are
the Bits
many.
and Bobs podcast, friends.
Yeah.
I need to make a veto button. No, I'm adding that to my list. Okay.
Manigon makes a good point in the chat. It might not be fair to veteran players who have grinded them out, but I would like more legendaries for events like the gloves. I'm not a big crafter, and having a way to earn them through battling is cool. Yes, so
Agreed.
because we got the gloves for the fractal, we're getting the gloves for the fractal event, and then the infusions for those as well. I mean, as an idea, like that's what I would like to see: one legendary item through a quick play type event or permanent reward, so that you can, whether or not it's one of the PvE legendary items, I don't know. It could just be a very specific thing like the gloves, so you still honor the grind of the old original armor, but you have like one piece of armor which gets you into it, or it's a ring or something else. I don't know, whatever. That would be cool. I think that would be a nice thing to, another incentive, right?
Could maybe adjust something that already exists. You know, I'm working on coalescence, so my mind jumps to coalescence. It's separate from the raid armor, which I think you could leave or, you know, take a piece of that. But what do you think they should change? Anything that they have existing and put it into the quick play system so that we could earn those items, or do you think they should stay
Maybe
the way
just
they are?
allies. I feel like
Beautiful.
I feel like the achievements should stay with like normal, so that's like another incentive to do normal.
Mhm.
But getting allies would be a good idea to give through quick plays. That way, people who are doing quick plays could also post that they have ally, that they have a little bit of experience and have that ability to be able to get into normals.
Also extending the ally out to the strike bosses as well. Give people more opportunity to farm it across all of the bosses that
Yeah.
are now
Yeah.
classed as raid bosses. I don't think that that's too far a stretch for them.
Agreed. And instead of doing it like every 3, like before, where we had to do that achievement like every 3 or I did 3 or 5, I can't remember, but you'd have to do a certain amount in order to get a little bit of ally. I think you should get one per boss.
I agree. As a person who has not finished my armor, I completely agree. Entirely self-interested here. Yes, I agree.
In fact, they should just do a bonus event where they give it all to you if you do the entire week, and then
True.
Would be a good idea.
I mean,
wink, wink.
it's amazing. So many people still going for that armor. I gave up. I got mine through PvP and through the Soto armor.
Oh, okay.
My very first was raid armor.
I actually did the raid armor. Yeah, I actually got.
It's
the
really
raid armor.
pretty. So
Yeah, I love the raid
It
armor.
depends. If
Yeah.
you're a leather wearer, questionable.
I love the heavy, the morphing,
Heavy is
and
great, yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one I'm working on. I actually enjoyed doing all the different achievements. I thought it was quite fun, and it was nice to work with people, and it was nice to, like, we in my guild, we took a load of people through to get add infinitum, right?
Yeah.
That is a twisty, windy journey, and it's nice to help out, and it's nice to show people different game modes, and it's lovely to do that. And we had like a sign up, do you want to do ad infinitum? And we just progress it through, and I think that that's kind of nice, and it would be nice for them to have something like that for people who regularly just do the LFR, so that there's something for them to work towards. There's an incentive for them. It doesn't have to be overnight. You know, if you do like so many, you get a certain reward. If you do it for a certain period of time, you get a certain reward, or have specific achievements for looking for raid. You know,
They probably will,
Yeah.
like the fractal incursion level kind of thing, where they'll probably do that for raids as well. I don't think they would not give us an incentive to do quick play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we talk about a sort of mentorship thing yet? Because I know I don't play it, but I know FF14 has this thing where if you are an experienced player and you do those like random beginner raids or whatever, I don't know what Final Fantasy does, you get some rewards.
I don't know.
I think that would be nice. So maybe like if you have certain achievements in regular raids, then quick play gives you like a bonus reward if you do it at least once a week or
That's a good
something. I
idea.
think that would be nice to encourage experienced players to go with newer ones.
That actually would be
That
a
would be
really
cool.
good idea. Yeah, I think that's a
that would be
great
cool.
idea.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I think if you just had a decent amount of LI in there, then it would attract raiders anyway, and a decent amount of gold rewards, because gold is still ridiculously hard to make in Guild Wars 2, especially for
Yeah.
casual players.
Yeah, gold is time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And to
I'm
be
still
honest,
buying.
like with the fractal incursion, I've made 200 gold in a couple weeks. Like
Damn.
I think that was a really good thing to do. I think fractal incursion was amazing.
Li needs more
I agree.
sinks besides the rings and armors, someone said. Cairo says in chat. Also, in Phoenix, did you finish your 4?
Well, so I mean, I'm always banging on about this. I don't like how our fashion system works for a game that's so heavily in fashion, and it's so much of the end game is around getting nice shiny rewards. I hate the fact that a huge swathe of the player base is unable to change the appearance of their armor without either going to the gem store or having to do an inordinate amount of PvP, which is the easiest way to get it. And I just wish that they would hurl that system into the sun and have them either as a crafted item to roll it into the economy, or just have it as a flat cost of silver in the game so that people can change their appearance on the fly. I think it would be. When they introduced, so they didn't introduce this system until the game had been knocking about for at least about 6 months. And when they introduced this system, I almost stopped playing. I almost stopped playing the game because I felt like
The
they were
wardrobe
playing
system?
So it's how
Transmutation
you
charges,
change.
mostly.
Yeah, it's transmutation
it's-
charges.
so-
It's so predatory. I hate it so
I-
much. So if they rolled them into this system whereby you
Yeah,
get a lot of
that would be good.
transmutation charges for doing raids, at least that would have some mitigating. But I hate it. I hate transmutation charges. It's so nickel and dimey.
I agree. Excuse me.
He's no deaf.
I
no,
think
no choking on
yeah.
this podcast. No
So
phonics.
I think the thing that you like, so yeah, the change to transmutations was I think 2014's feature pack, where they removed the previous. We had 2 items for those who don't back in the day. There was like the basic ones and the shiny ones, and you could only use the basic ones on items under level 80. And it was like even more expensive in the gem store. So I kind of enjoyed the change, but I also did play some PvP. So I had like a 1,000 of them, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's a big-
getting them with any skin would be so good. We have to throw, if you have a skin unlocked and you don't want to use it right now, you have to throw it away. I think that's so weird.
Yeah.
Why can't we just salvage skins to get a transmutation charge out of it?
Again,
Just
Those are
any
good,
skin you
yes.
don't want to use, just salvage it. And like, I think that would be nice
I end up
already.
keeping them in my bank, and then when I'm like, oh, use it, even though I've got 1,500 transmutation charges right now, I still do that. I'm like, everyone knows my issues with my loot and my inventory, so that's one problem that probably isn't something we should talk about right now. But yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think more transmutation charges would be nice, or just dumping the whole system, because
Yes. Yeah.
it really is. It's also so expensive for gems.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
like get a couple of them for I don't know how many gems. Yeah, it doesn't really. Who buys that? I would like to see who actually spends money on that, because I don't think it's a huge income for ArenaNet. So just remove it. Just do something with it.
Might be surprised.
It would
about
engender
that.
so much goodwill in the community. So much goodwill in the community. Oh my god!
Or just make them really more available. I think.
Yeah, just
I don't mind them being something that people spend money on, because I think it's still something about your character where it's like, you know, I wear clothes and that costs money. Like, I don't mind that being a thing, but I think when it's just transmutation charges, and there's a whole portion of folks that can't get access to that because they don't play the content. PvP was a huge place where you got transmutation charges. I've never even had the worry of that, because when I played PvP for years and years and years and years, I just stock them up and I don't PvP anymore hardly at all, and I've just never run out. And I looked at them yesterday and I was like, I've still got 1,500, and it's like, whoa.
And then you have legendary armor, you'll never use them.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of, yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if there wasn't such a discontinuity between the game types. One of the things I like about all the legendary armors or availability of legendary armor is they've put parity into the system. So first of all, it was just raids, so only raiding people, and then they brought in PvP armor, great, so PvP, and then it was the open world people. Well, we would like to be able to, and now we have an armor sets for story mode, so we have this parity of content, which is great. And of course, you can get lots of Lego stuff through fractals, smashing, great. But why is one game type uniquely privileged when it comes to being able to transform your character? Because surely the more people who are continuously like changing up their gear, the better. People like make content around fashion wars. Some of the most popular videos on my channel are about, I mean, I haven't made it for ages, but I mean, I used to do like loads of top 10s of the different types of skins, because obviously they don't advertise the fantastic loot that they have very well. And I just, it just chaps my balls. It just really, really chaps my balls that this is in, and I would just like it to go away. So yeah, please.
Yeah. We've got the gist that Fornex is not into it, but also
no, I'm definitely not.
Raids again, another place where you can definitely up the transmutation charges. Any other reward ideas? Angle, have you any reward ideas from you about, like, you know, how would you like to see things combined? Is there anything you want to see definitely stay? Could they increase things? What would you love to see if you could have a reward from a boss or from a system or a vendor?
Well, selfishly, like I said, I need more allies, so give me more ways to get ally without needing, which I'm hoping will be the case, without needing to like organize 10 people into doing raids. That's fantastic. I am also a huge fan of the steps we're kind of taking to allow more casual players to get legendary items. And I think that if this can be used as another avenue for an accessory or a backpack or an amulet or something that folks can earn through this system, I don't want to necessarily like steal anybody's thunder who, you know, went uphill both ways barefoot in the snow to get their you know, raid armor and coalescence and, you know, all that other stuff. But I was somebody who, before raids and being a part of like the Twitch community and having folks who were like, Angle, come, I'll like help you, I never thought legendary armor was possible for me. And I know that there's a huge group of people out there who are probably in that same boat, and I think we saw the excitement from them. I can do fractals and I can get legendary gloves. This is my first legendary item. Like, so excited to do that, and have just been like farming the fractal incursion event like mad to do it. And I think that that's awesome. If you've been playing this game for over a decade and you don't have legendary armor piece and you feel like it's not accessible to you, I think changing that it should be on the list.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's
super true.
Hope so.
I I think this is also, you know how we got the Omni Potion for the Fractal event for just 1,000
Yeah, that was awesome.
AA.
Yeah.
It's so I had so many thoughts about it because I took my Omni Potion. It took me over a year to get, and so when they put it in for something you could basically get in 2 weeks of just doing your dailies and weeklies, I was so like cooked up about it. I was like, oh, and then people in my stream were like, but consider this, it's actually fine. Like, it's really nice. More people will have it. It doesn't take anything away from you. It's a different item. So, and I was like, oh yeah, it's actually good. So if anybody gets upset at the idea of people finding legendaries through an easier way, like if we had one in the LFR and we have this fractal one, just consider it's gonna be all right. It's not gonna be terrible.
I think there is that kind of, it's almost like a bit of, it's not really, I think it's not really FOMO, right? But it is like, oh, I've spent so much time and effort doing this thing, and it's like, well, no one's going to take that away from you. That was still your journey.
You're cool, for doing that. Like,
right. Maybe sometimes we can, like, people could just get an extra, like a title or something when they get that, so it's more of a thing. But like, I think it is, like, at the end of the day, a lot of this is access. I don't know if any people moaned about, like, did anyone have any issues around the legendary glove stuff in addition?
I think it was a good idea.
Yeah, but generally, sorry, working properly in the community, really. Like, if anyone like moaning about it at all, I don't think I saw anyone really bring it up, like a bit like, we did this and legendary should be hard, and like, I don't think anyone, I don't care really. I mean, I still went for the skin. I still went for it. I just went for it as well.
Yeah, it was an awesome skin.
Yeah.
Same.
I think there's also like the bragging right kind of feel of it, and even though people got the same Omni Potion, it's a different color, so you can still link it and be like, I have the Ascended version of it, I have the one you had to actually work at. There's still the bragging right, but like I definitely get people not like feeling like they don't have that bragging right anymore when it comes to like certain things, but there is still that bragging right because it's a completely different legendary. It's one thing if they gave out the actual raiding gloves instead of like someone like that instead of just being a completely different skin. Very so true. Like you can still have the bragging right of being like, I have this set or this set or like the necklace you get from doing story, and so like you still have that bragging right.
Yeah, it's going to be a different item anyway. It's not like they're going to give you the envoy armor for anything if they ever do it. So that's true. It's just never, it's fine to just let other people have stuff that we didn't get,
Exactly.
I don't know. I think when they brought that hat as I think it was a Twitch drop, for the Guild Wars 2 hat, and there was a huge stink about it because people were like, well, this is something I got for day one and it was beta hat and stuff like that. I'm like, how long has it been?
Yeah.
How long since the beta? And I don't have a problem with it. I personally have it. I don't care. Like, give people that hat. It's pretty cool.
It's
or
like
the coffee sip.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, those could be rewards for sure in raid, like, in all of this. I mean, why not have like specific raid emotes? I mean, you can have anything you flipping well want, really.
Yeah,
that's true.
It can be literally, it should be more cosmetic stuff, I think. Like, there should be tons of cosmetic stuff available, like in raids. Give us glider skins, flipping, mount skins, very specific ones, like. Someone was talking about Deimos Malcolmus is like, Deimos in your instance, screw it. I want to ride Deimos. Be on the back of Deimos, and Deimos is a flipping mount. That sounds way more filthy than I meant it to be. But like, mate, did I though? Think about the other bosses that could be mounts. Like, I mean, it'd be silly, but at the same time, it's just like, why not? Like, I mean, just to have some of maybe it's like one of the NPCs, maybe it's one of the, Zemoros is like, I don't know. It could be really hilarious. I don't know, just some random stuff that's just more fun, and you can only get access to this from raids. And I think, just generally giving more people fun things to go for, and just be like, oh, this boss dropped this specific thing, I'm gonna go and kill this boss, or I have to kill it 10 times to get this, or whatever. Like, you know, the loot, when a boss gets killed, in Guild Wars 2, there's barely any excitement over the loot, other than I maybe got an ascended item and I got the kill. Because there used to be, you know, I mean, dragon kill points, and, you know, was it dragon kill point? I can't remember what it's called. DKP, yeah. Which, you know,
you could also do like rare mounts where like they only drop for that boss.
Exactly.
Like World of Warcraft used to do, or it still does, but like make it super rare that that only this boss drops it, and then you can have that dragging that as well.
Absolutely. And it's okay to have a super rare flip and drop in a raid where a boss has a like 0.7% of chance of dropping this thing. So people spam it. So people go do it. So maybe people, I think that's totally fine. I don't think it adds like a thing where, oh, you're lucky and you got the thing. Yeah, screw it, they got lucky, but the amount of chances they probably put into killing the thing, you know, I mean,
I spent Ashes of Allah. I for the Ashes of Allah. I don't know whether you know. You're like, okay, so you know.
Yep,
oh my God, that fucking speech! I can say it in my fucking sleep. Power, my people are addicted to it. Jesus fucking Christ! I got that like 2 years ago. That's how, and I raided that bitch. I raided that bitch for real. So, and like I got invincible like a month ago.
Yeah, the mountain for me was the I think it was the Raven from the Mana Tombs, I think. It was the Burning Crusade Raven mount that you could get, but it was super, super rare. I still haven't gotten it.
Damn. I know somebody who did Tequaddle every night since it was revamped, so 2014 until earlier this year. So that's 11 years, 10 years. They were getting all of the armor pieces. I do think at some point you should be able to get it with currency, but it can be, even if it's enough currency that you have to do the run 500 times or 1,000 times or something.
Should be more chances depending on how much you've got, and maybe based off of, I think in Elder Scrolls Online, like the more that you do bosses and the more that there's actually a really good mechanic in this for dungeons, like you have more of a chance of that specific piece dropping because there's such a big loot table, because you just got everything, and it's just like the chance of that dropping increases and increases. And then, like you said, like a vendor comes up and is available, so you can just buy the flipping thing. Like there has to be like an in between. I don't think you should be queuing. I don't think you should be doing an event for 11 years. And that's wild.
I don't think it's that. But look, I was super salty not getting the Ashes of Allah for like, you know, most of my adult life. But however, I think that there's a good mix, right? It's a good mix. There are things that you can work towards that are obtainable, and then there are these unicorns that they're aspirational, right? And having those 1% drop chance is something that's fun. It gets you going back. It's a standing joke. I do not need the Ashes of Allah to have a complete and happy life. Okay, but it was something fun. I'm working on my tier 3. I'm like jumping through hoops to try and get some ancient content from like year 2 of World of Warcraft right now. So it's good to have these weird, odd, collectible oddities for interest. Okay, I think that's cool. But I think you hit the nail on the head, is the fact that loot is not exciting in Guild Wars 2. Killing a boss, it's about the achievement, it's about the teamwork, it's about doing your achievement to get your armor. That's like a long-term goal, but there is no excitement because there is no Russian roulette of loot. There's no, like, World of Warcraft has each raid has a unique tier set for characters to collect, so they don't have that either. And that's every kind of profession of every profession has its own unique tier set for every raid. And that incentivizes people. So even if they're not into the power progression treadmill of World of Warcraft, they're into the I want that pretty armor, and it incentivizes them to go into it. And because Guild Wars 2 doesn't really have, outside of this epic, like, decathlon Herculean task, right? They don't have that kind of almost like instant gratification. Oh, am I going to get a nice piece of loot? Oh, am I going to get this thing? They're lacking that kind of dopamine hitting incentive that a lot of MMOs lean into to help keep people going back to raids and to push them into new raids.
We do have infusions, but I think the infusion drop rates are too low. Like, I think they're so rare that like it's hard to get excited. It doesn't even come into my calculation of whether I'm doing an event or not for infusions, because they're so unreliable. Yeah. So like something in between that and something that drops every time, I think would be nice. You're right. But it also depends on how fun the event is, because I'm not doing Janthi or Sentry for that spear at all. This is I want the spear. I'm not doing that event.
That's some valid feedback. Okay. If anyone does, if there are some final thoughts about raids and strikes combining, then definitely this is the time, because otherwise we're gonna start to end the stream, because we've actually been going for a good amount of time on this, and I didn't think we would be.
Oh my goodness.
there's so much to it, right? Like, we forget how much. I mean, we've been talking about different rewards and all these different ways we can get back into raids and get people into them, and how, you know, the achievements and how things are blocked behind things and people don't even know there's things available. And I think that's continuing. And I think this UI hopefully is going to give a lot more information about the and also reasons as to why you should do the things, and the things exist. I think that's a good. I mean, that's a
Telegraph.
good start. Yeah, like, you know, you're not just gonna get it's just some random achievement saying that you can get, you know, a legendary something, and you had to find out convolutedly through some random YouTube channel. Let's not do that anymore, because, you know, I think this fractal event has been like I said last week on the podcast. There is no part of me that doesn't think, I don't know, but like, it's probably been one of the most impactful events they've ever done for the game.
Wow.
Yeah, like Engel did.
Slam dunk.
Yeah, it's like literally one of the best things they've ever done for the game, ever. To get people into something, like, it's just been wild.
Very good.
Listen to your community. Listen to your community. When WoW listened to their community and brought back like classic WoW, their servers were full. Their player base went up. You just got to listen to your community, what they want. And we've been asking for like this kind of raidy stuff for auto matching for so long. Yeah, so long.
LFG's been such a big thing for so long, and it's kind of wild that we just didn't get to this place earlier, but I'm just glad we're getting there after 11 years.
We're here now.
Whatever it is. 12. Wait, how many years? Shit.
It's 11 now. No, 13. 13 years.
Yeah. Yep.
The game? Yeah, it's 13.
This is 13 years.
And then raids 10, because Heart of Thorns was 10.
So maybe 10-year anniversary. So, or rates. Here's an FG. Yeah. Oh God. Actually, no. I'm not gonna. Let's just go backwards.
We turn into dust.
It's okay. We're here. We're still here playing the game, so we know we get to enjoy this now, and it's gonna be fine. Okay. Any final thoughts or anything else? Otherwise, we're gonna do a little bit of an outro and bugger off. There we go. Fair enough. Okay.
Silence.
We'll do a little bit of an outro so people could. I said I would only do this in the intro, but we'll just do a quick outro. Quickly, just tell us what you do, where you do it, and where people can find you. Rough timings, and Engel, tell us about you.
Yes, I stream on twitch.tv/EngelbartMeow. You can find me on almost every other form of social media under the same name. I do Curse cosplays of Guild Wars 2 People, Places, and Things. And I stream mostly in the evenings, like pretty late, around 9 to 10 p.m. Central is when I start. So if you're around, you can't sleep, stop on by for some nightmare fuel.
Yeah, it's a really good place to go for that fuel. Excellent. Engel, legend. Thanks for coming on today. Lelling, tell us all the things.
Gosh, that's me. I stream at twitch.tv/lelling, and I usually stream around 8 p.m. European time. So that's like European evenings and then into the nighttime. So American afternoons and nighttime. And I stream a lot of Guild Wars and other stuff and sometimes I talk about like game devy stuff. Other times I just play Factorio for 50 hours.
Awesome. Good. Lelling's first time on the podcast today as well, so thank you for coming on. I finally managed to get you on, which is good. I've been asking you for a while.
I'm so happy.
Lelling on. Okay. Good job today. Awesome to have you here. Fornax, the
Hello.
Things. Good to see you.
I'm Fornax, the Crichton Herald. I'm the weird British lady who does law on Guild Wars 2 on YouTube. That's me. Hello. And please do head over there. It's the Crichton Herald, or Fornax the Herald over on Blue Skies. Thank you so much for inviting me today. It was lovely, and it's lovely meeting you guys again. Well, meeting you for the first time, Lelling. It's been brilliant. And meeting you again. We've had chats before. Mal, we I think we were on a podcast ages and ages ago that we met, so it's lovely to see you again. Oh my god, your artwork is so gorgeous. Please do check out their artwork. It's just absolutely beautiful, beautiful. And I've just had such fun today. I love talking about like mechanics and raids and development. I'm actually like making my own game on the down low, so it's really fun, and I'm really enjoying like talking to like a real dev. I'm just like a nerdy person trying to do something. So it's been awesome fun, and thank you so much, Jebro. Yeah.
Of course. Good. Excellent. Wow, that's great. Love it. And Malcolmist as well, last but not least. That's the things.
My name is Malcolmist. I do Twitch streaming on twitch.tv/MalcolmistTV. If you guys like lore as well as just like PvE content, I do also do a lot of do a community event every Friday with my community, and then we also play a little bit of other games as they come out or as I try to get through my list. But I do focus on lore, artwork, and just Guild Wars 2 for the most part. But yeah, there's a couple of sprinkles everywhere else, but yeah.
Lovely indeed. As well, if you're... Sorry, go on. Someone said that.
Sorry, can I make a game recommendation for everybody?
Sure.
Go and play Little Witch in the Woods. It's like amazing. If you like weird, quirky RPG pixel art stuff, it's fantastic. Sorry, carry on. I apologize.
Weird, I'm writing it down.
Yeah, I've seen that. Cool, lovely. I am Jebro hosting the podcast. We're going to be back for the rest of the month, weekly on a Sunday. Potentially not right at the end of the month though, because I'm doing something. And then maybe another. We'll see. But mostly every Sunday. Sorry, I just went back on my whole thing. But if you want to find out when the podcasts are going to be, then you should probably go and follow me on Blue Sky and all the other things. And it's Jebro Unity there. As well as you can Google the Lightbringers GW2 podcast, and you'll find us on Spotify. You'll find us on YouTube, Twitch channel, twitch.tv/JebroUni on Sundays at 12 p.m. Pacific-ish. Which is 7 p.m. GMT, 8 p.m. UK, and 3 p.m. East Coast, and there are other time zones that I can't remember all the things for.
Sure,
but
North Central, it's fine.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, 1 hour over there, and 2 hours mountain, 1 hour mountain. Sorry, and 2. I don't know, but like there's times. Look us up, check us out. We're getting very close to the expansion. It is this month 23 days, you said, Engel, I think, as well.
Yes.
Right? So we are very close to the next expansion. Tons of new changes, a new place to go, a new homestead, new elite specializations, new story, new bosses, new lots of stuff to come. So we're very excited. And if you want to check out these wonderful people, then there will be in the description below, I'll give you a link where you can go and check out their stuff. There will also be affiliate links for all of them to purchase pre-order the new expansion, as well as the older expansions, which are on sale right now and probably will be for a while. But if you purchase the expansion or anything else through their links, is an official ArenaNet link, so they get a little bit of a kickback from that. which is really, really helpful and supportive as they continue to live life in a world where things cost money. So that's the thing. Otherwise, we will see you next time on the Lightbringers podcast. Thanks so much for watching. Everyone can wave in their own way, and Malcolm is definitely waving as well. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you soon.